When the demon said, "You can't," you said, "Watch me." And that's exactly the kind of mentality that you're going to need to have as we go through and forward in this time that we're living in. The demons are going to be amping up more so than ever before, and you've got to make sure that you stand your ground and fight these demons, okay? You've got to be willing to look these demons in the eye and tell them no through their eyes, or through your eyes to them. Because a lot of the people out here are possessed by demons. They're possessed by demons. They're possessed by certain kinds of demonic spirits and entities. I genuinely think that anybody that is following too close to an ideology or a dogma is actually possessed by a demonic spirit of some kind, because that's a spirit. And you've got to think that your body is a vessel and a battleground in itself for the goodness and the justice and the mercy of the Most High. If you treat your body as a temple, like, there's a reason why they say this. There's a reason why the Bible says this, right? This is the reason why this is so important. To treat your body as a temple means to treat your body as if it's a holy place, because it is a holy place. And when you are committed to being a vessel and a servant for the Most High, you've got to know that people are going to try to attack that sanctuary in one way, shape, or form or another. Some of these can be demonic dreams. Some of these can be demonic attacks in the real world. And I'm not saying that the dream world is not necessarily real. In some ways, I actually think the dream world is more real. But you've got to be willing to say no to these demons. And remember what the Bible says about rebuking the devil. Rebuke the devil and he will flee from you, right? But sometimes it's wiser to just not pay any of these kinds of demons attention. And so one of the ways and one of the reasons that I actually want to talk about this is because I've had some very strange dreams as of late. And one of them has been particularly with several different women that I've seen at the gym that I go to. And I don't usually talk to anybody at the gym when I'm out there and about. I don't really like to talk to people much at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure that my reputation in the community, based off of the way that I've heard people talk about me and the way that people look at me, it's almost like they see me as this enigma that is highly capable and highly powerful, but they have no clue why and how. Little do they know that I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. Like, I'm just trying to live my life, man. I'm just trying to live a life and try to help people grow closer to Yeshua. But but anyway, it's just kind of funny because I don't try to speak with authority. I don't try to do that kind of stuff, but I do, just because I have been given this authority by the Most High. So anyway, it's just kind of funny that way. But there's a few women that I've seen around and that have tried to get my attention, but I don't go after it, because I know the spirits that I see in them, and I don't know exactly what kind of spirit it is, but I sometimes just know, like, I don't want to go near that person. I don't want to be talking to that person unless I have to. And in the dream that I had, there was a woman that was trying to seduce me, but she was trying to seduce me by giving the sense that she's this kind, good, wifey-like woman. But in reality, she was just trying to play a game to see if she could get my money. And my money, though, in the dream wasn't necessarily my money. It was more like, it was the power was coming from my stomach. It was like my stomach chakra, my solar plexus chakra. And she was trying to get that. She was trying to get my confidence, basically. And so some things happened, and in the dream, I was perplexed, because this woman on the outside was so beautiful. She seemed so good, but I could see in the inside her spirit wanted something else. And she pretty much just took off my clothes and started doing stuff on me. And after that, another one of these women that I've seen around the gym found out that this woman tried to talk to me, and she got super jealous. I'm talking super jealous to the point to where she told me that she would be willing to put a spell on me so that every single woman on the planet would be a stepmom, a stepsister, or a step whatever, so that I could have no intimate relationship with them. Now, I thought that was kind of interesting because, number one, I know what that kind of spirit is like, right? Like, if you were, like, this is a jealous, envious spirit. Like, these kinds of demonic spirits, these kinds of women and people in general, men are like this too. Some of these men are out here are possessed by this kind of demonic spirit. But this kind of spirit wants to be very possessive and very highly territorial with you. And it's almost to the point to where you can't even live a life. And that's exactly what this spirit told me in the dream. And it was weird because both of these women, and there were some other things that happened with other women in the dream, but both of these women specifically were, they were trying to take something from me. They were trying to get something from me. And it was mostly just my soulful energy. That's what it was. And in the dream, it was very complex because I could tell that their spirit wasn't really who they were, but their faces looked like they were who they were. And so this is going to be something that happens because I didn't realize this until I woke up, obviously, but in the dream world, what happens is when spirits appear like this in the faces of other people, it's kind of like the spirit is trying to use people that you know or have seen as a way to get you and to get your energy. And so this is where you've got to be very mindful and you've got to be very proactive about how you go about these things and how you move in the world. This is one of the reasons why I don't talk much to anybody, because it's like, I know they want my energy. I know that I have power. I know that I have influence. I know these things, but I don't try to use it for anything other than just being a vessel for Yeshua. I don't try to use it for anything other than trying to be serving the Most High's will. And even though it's very there's temptations there, of course, the devil's tempted me many times, but it's almost as if you have to be able to, in the dream as well, to say no to these entities. And unfortunately, in this last dream that I had, I wasn't able to, and they got some of my energy. And it was very strange because I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly, but it was almost like I was being compelled, and they really were trying to put a spell on me. And so I had to, when these things happen, you've got to recognize that sometimes there's just, the only thing that you can do in those situations is to stand your ground, and then in the real world, just fortify your spirit through fasting or through exercise, discipline. Any form of discipline is going to be very helpful for you during these kinds of times and trials, because the demons want you to fail. The devil wants you to fail. The devil doesn't want you to become this person. And why do you think it is that the woman in the dream don't want me to have any kind of relationship with anyone in the world if she can't have me? That's a highly like succubus-like / jealous / envious spirit. I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know. But the kinds of names that I call these spirits are just frivolous. They're frivolously ignorant, and they're highly, they're like frivolous thieves, I suppose, is the best way to think about it. Frivolous thieves. And so they really are trying to just take parts of your soul and just carve parts of your soul out. And sometimes you might notice when you're around certain people, for example, when you're around certain people and you kind of get a headache, or you just feel like, something's cloudy, or a woman is trying to, for example, for a lot of the men out here that are watching this, it's almost like when you look into a woman's eyes, your genitalia is almost like lit up with this activation, because they're wanting to take your life force, okay? They're wanting to take your life force. And with the women as well, a lot of the men out here they just want your energy and attention, and they want to just move on. And it's really just not in anybody's best interest to continue to do this kind of stuff, because it's only going to perpetuate the proclivity that people have to lean toward demonic spirits to cope with their poor decisions. And when I say cope, I don't like using that term because I know that it's kind of overused nowadays, but the point is that you have to know who you're up against, and you have to be able to say no to these entities and people if they're possessed by the demonic entities. And when they know that you're able to say no, that's when the attacks are going to ramp up even more. And that's why I think I was attacked the other night. I also had another dream where I was with God's chosen people, and we were in the forest, beautiful forest, and we were doing our thing. We were basically living on a homestead, and we were moving certain logs and such, and then we had like a fire at night, and we looked up into the sky, and there were 2 moons that were up there. One of the moons was looking actually like the moon, but the other moon was almost like it was drawing toward us. And so the light was trying to get brighter and brighter, but the closer it got, the more flamey it looked. It wasn't that like white light that the moon has usually. It was this flame look. And as the light came pouring in and closer, we realized that it was the Eye of Sauron. Now, those of you that are not familiar with Lord of the Rings understands that there are going to be obviously certain like the devil has certain ways to be watching you through monitoring spirits or anything like that, right? Well, the Eye of Sauron is basically a monitoring spirit on steroids and dark magic and everything in between. So the Eye of Sauron is one evil entity, right? And as we noticed that the Eye of Sauron got closer and closer, we chosen ones, we godly people, we had to move and we had to hide, and then we had to participate in guerrilla warfare. But it turned out to be that the guerrilla warfare that we were having to participate in was all spiritual. It was not going to be physical at all. Which really goes to show also where we're heading as a society, I think, as well. I think a lot of the most challenging tests to come are not going to be physical tests. They're going to be heart, mind, and soul tests. Because the psychological warfare and the spiritual warfare that people are using, psychological warfare and spiritual warfare are pretty much the same thing. There's obviously the main difference is the practicality of it. People understand when you say psychological warfare, generally speaking, the public can get behind that and understand, oh yeah, okay, it's a mind game basically. But if you say spiritual warfare, only people that are actually understanding of what spiritual warfare is will understand what we're actually talking about. So it's pretty much the same thing, but not exactly as far as the details. If you get down in the nitty gritty, the main difference is practicality. It's as simple as that. But I think this is where we're going to be heading, and this is where we're going to be going. And I think my dream with the Eye of Sauron and God's chosen ones really indicates just where we're going to be going and how we're going to be getting there, because we have pretty much a watchful eye on us through technology at all times anymore. And anybody that hasn't read Edward Snowden's Permanent Record, I would highly recommend reading that, simply because you'll know that the CIA has been monitoring us for years and years and years, and the feds have been monitoring us for years and years and years, and there's nothing really we can do about it at this point, apart from literally reforming everything about the government. Basically, at this point, the whole entire government just needs a reset button, and we need new people that are not going to be having certain companies in their back pocket and all that. We just need it all different. Like everything just needs to be different. I think the system itself is great. I think the way that the system has been corrupted from the inside is what's been most challenging to deal with. But anyway, that's kind of a different topic, but still part of the spiritual warfare that's going to be going on and that we have to be aware of. And I don't think people understand that trying to flee the country is going to be helpful. I think we need to stand and fight, just like we would any other kind of spiritual fight. We have to rebuke the devil. We have to rebuke him in the name of Yeshua. So with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. If you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have the free Discord that is available in the link in the description box below, as well as the paid academy that is also a link also has a link in the description box below. And the main difference between the paid and the free is that with the paid you get a Bible study weekly, a weekly group call, and then a whole bunch of other resources and classes available that you would never get in the Discord. But you still have the godly community in both avenues to take. I also want to give a shout out to everybody that's been moving from the YouTube platform over to the X and the Rumble platform recently. I appreciate your guys' support, and peace be with you. Till next time.